There's a hearing going on right now. Senate Armed Services Committee. Retired Army General David Petraeus moments ago apologizing for sharing classified information with his then mistress and biographer at the time, Paula Broadwell. This we believe is his first public testimony before lawmakers since resigning as director of the CIA. This is what he said just a moment ago. Watch and listen.
4 years ago, I made a serious mistake, one that brought discredit on me and pain closest to those closest to me. It was a violation of the trust placed in me and a breach of the values to which I'd been committed throughout my life. There's nothing I can do to undo what I did. I can only say again how sorry I am to those I let down, and then strive to go forward with a greater sense of humility and purpose, and with gratitude to those who stood with me during a very difficult chapter in my life.
He has issued an apology that I can remember, but it was a paper statement. I don't remember a time when he went on camera or during a hearing where he has apologized like this. So that's quite a moment for a man who served this country with such distinction for so long. David Petraeus a moment ago on the Hill, Senate side.
Good to see him back in the conversation at this hour as well. So there's new concerns from the Department of Defense about Russia's military buildup in Syria, and General Petraeus just spoke about it a moment ago as well. There are reports that surveillance drones are now joining the mix. According to the New York Times, those drones are in addition to more than 40 Russian airplanes and helicopters that are on the scene now in Syria, 9 tanks, and 500-plus people on the ground. This is what Vladimir Putin has put in place in a very strong way in Syria. Joined now by General Jack Keane. He's retired 4-star general, former vice chief of staff of the Army, chairman of the Institute of the Study of War, and a Fox News military analyst. General Keane, welcome back. Good to see you, as always.
Good to be here, Martha.
I just want to get your initial thoughts. I don't know if you were able to hear General Petraeus moments ago, but he issued an apology, and I would like to hear your thoughts on that, and then I can share with you what he said about Syria.
Well, certainly. I mean, you know, I have a very close relationship with him. He's a dear friend. The contribution he made to this country as commander of our forces in Iraq and Afghanistan, director of the CIA, is indisputable. He made a mistake. He's paid for that mistake. And I really believe, Martha, he still has much to offer our country in terms of his understanding of national security policy and particularly the Middle East.
Yeah, he spoke about Syria, and here's what he said just a few moments ago, or about an hour ago now. He called Syria the geopolitical Chernobyl and said the fallout from the meltdown will be felt for decades. Interpret that for us.
Well, I think it's basically true. The Arab Spring came to Syria like it did to Tunisia, Libya, and Egypt. But the problem in Syria is because nothing was truly done to significantly help the rebel forces who were trying to overthrow this brutal dictator. The radicals fell in on Syria, the Al-Qaeda affiliate, and if it was not for the chaos in Syria, the Al-Qaeda who reemerged in Iraq after our forces pulled out would not have been able to establish a sanctuary or base of operations in Syria. It's from Syria that they've expanded into 7 other countries, and it's from Syria they've developed a worldwide following, and it's from Syria they were able to invade Iraq. So that's what he's talking about. When you look at Syria and what it's done by not attending to this problem early on, it's contributed to massive problems in the Middle East and also the migration crisis that we're now seeing unfolding.
Yeah, well, the former Soviet Union has a very strong relationship with Syria, of course. It's a very important sort of beachhead for them in the Middle East, and they share a lot of resources. And now it appears that Vladimir Putin has decided that since nobody is showing any signs of stopping him, he might as well just go ahead and put a lot of military wear right on the ground in Syria. I mean, we've seen Crimea, we've seen Ukraine. Is Syria next?
Yeah, absolutely. You put your finger right on it. This is a 60-year relationship that means a lot to the Russians. This is their foothold in the Middle East. They got a naval base there already. Assad is being pressured by rebel forces who've been succeeding now slowly but steadily for almost a year. And he's lost some political support among his base, which is the Alawites. As a result of that, here comes Russia establishing an air base in Syria to prop up the regime. That is his primary reason for being there. He'll have another narrative that it's to fight ISIS, but let's make no mistake about it. It's to prop up the regime. And then strategically, what he also wants is he'll use this as influence in the region at large. At the same time, the U.S. is diminished in the region because we are disengaging in the region, and all of our allied friends are looking for other countries to gain leverage against Iran. So that's really what is happening.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen the brutal crackdown by Assad in Syria. We've also seen brutality at work in Crimea and in the Ukraine as well, led, many people believe, by Vladimir Putin. And we heard President Obama say that if the red line was crossed with that kind of brutality, that we wouldn't just stand by, but as we all know, we absolutely did stand by. So, you know, what next? I mean, you know, what are you looking for when you look at the next president or possible president in terms of what they might do at this late date in all of this?
Well, we clearly have to re-examine our strategy as it pertains to Assad and also as it pertains to ISIS. I mean, we saw General Alston's testimony last week, and clearly what we were trying to do in Syria in terms of the arming and equipping a rebel force, we only have 9 fighters, is a failure. And that's unmistakable. I know the administration is now reconsidering what to do in Syria, and maybe arming the Syrian Kurds better and also putting together another Sunni travel force in Syria. And we have to take a look at Iraq. We put Iraq first over Syria. I always thought that was a mistake. And we know now, I think it's also indisputable, that the Iraqi forces are not going to take Mosul back anytime soon, not going to take Ramadi back anytime soon. So, this whole strategy has to be re-looked at in terms of the application of resources, our resolve to bring it to completion, and then what are we going to do about Mr. Assad in Damascus?
Yeah, and we sit back and watch as Putin strengthens his hand there. Thank you very much, General. Always good to see you.
Yeah, good talking to you, Martha.
You too.
Okay.